Hi everyone, my name's Dan Beverley and welcome to this online masterclass, No Dreams, Just Projects, how to achieve nonlinear growth for your next level of success. And this is a masterclass for ambitious, high potential, high performing people who are looking to take complete command of the mindset, skill set and tool set that's necessary to really capitalize on the pivotal moments of life and work, where the pivotal moments are those key junctions in our journey, moments full of opportunity and promise, and that have the potential to define our trajectory. And in those moments, I love to support my clients to translate their dreams from vague hopes and wishes off in some never achieved future into projects here in the present pivotal moment full of energy and endeavor that creates your next level of success. A day spent dreaming is kind of wasted, but a day spent working on your project, now that's an exciting life. No dreams, just projects, and that's what we're going to be working on today. So this masterclass is going to be perfect for you if you're at your own pivotal moment of life and career, but maybe a little unsure how to shape that into a strategy that truly capitalizes on this moment. It's going to be perfect if you have goals and ambitions you want to achieve, but maybe find yourself compromising your time, energy, and focus in favor of lesser goals and maybe other people's priorities. And it's going to be perfect if you're ready and willing to do the work to get committed and consistent, focused and strategic, and then to lock it in for the year to come. Now, if you're merely interested but not committed, if you just want to hoard the information but not actually do the work, if you're not the kind of person who's prepared to invest in themselves and in the moment, then this masterclass is probably not for you. But for those that are committed, are ready and willing to do the work and to invest time, focus, energy into themselves and their development, then you're in just the right place. Today, we'll be, first of all, revealing the 3 biggest blockers to your next level of success so that you can have a better understanding of what's maybe holding you back right now. We're going to be breaking down the 4 keystone pillars to nonlinear growth. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some game-changing ingredients for maximum returns on your learning investments, which you may be overlooking right now. And along the way, I'll be sharing as many coaching insights as I can and unpacking all the key coaching models to really help you deepen your understanding and accelerate your results. My name's Dan Beverley. There's a lovely little airbrushed photo of me. I'm a leadership and performance coach. I'm also a husband and stay-at-home father to our 2 amazing kids, O and D. And I'm someone with a lifelong interest in and pursuit of performance and excellence. From my earliest days, where my interest lay in sport and music, through to my 15-year career as a corporate consultant, to today as a professional coach. And for the last 10 years or so, I've worked with hundreds of clients over thousands of coaching hours, especially around the topics of self-leadership, professional performance, and personal transformation. And today I'd love to share some of what I've come to know about the journey of performance and success, about the importance of capitalizing on these pivotal moments, and about the secrets to achieving nonlinear growth as the vehicle for achieving your next level of success. And so today, my promise to you is first of all to deliver as much value and actionable insight as I can, to offer fresh perspective and new ideas that may be a little different from what you've heard before, and to share only what is tried, tested, and proven to work. I'm a performance coach. I'm interested in the science, the neurobiology, the research, the psychology. I'm even interested in a bit of the woohoo. But the first and foremost thing I'm interested in is what's practical, what's functional, what really works. So everything we talk today, it'll be things that I coach my private clients on, that I teach inside my online community, and that I apply to my own life. And I want to bring all of that insight to today's session. And so in return, I invite you to, first of all, remain open to challenge and to be an accepting of new ideas. I invite you to take plenty of notes so you can implement the learning. And I invite you to give this masterclass your undivided time and attention. If you're going to be in the room, be in the room, because your success in this pivotal moment is just way too important for a split focus. So let's really dial in our focus today by first of all finding a quiet space where you can settle in and zero in, silencing your phone and email alerts, pings and dings, and any other distractions. And I invite you again just to take plenty of notes. The brain is great for having ideas, not so good for holding them. Okay, so let's really get going. Let's start talking and thinking about you making your quantum leap. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, we're talking about making a step change in where you're at, the level at which you're performing and succeeding, the impact and contribution that you're having, and the results that you're achieving. And I want to start with a question here. So let me ask you, over the next 365 days, What does your next level of success look like? And just take a moment to really reflect on that. What does your next level look like in terms of career, health, wealth, relationships, happiness, fulfillment? What would you love to achieve? What do you want more of in your life? What do you want less of? What do you want to do with this time? What do you want to have? Who do you want to be? So just take a moment to really think on that. What does your next level of success look like? And now, with that in mind, what would it take to make that your new reality? Now, I want to share a story with you here because I remember back in my previous consulting career, a real pivotal moment in my journey. Not a change in direction, but a fundamental change in trajectory, a whole new level. And I absolutely loved that. It was exciting, exhilarating, energizing. And with success came feelings of achievement and a deep sense of fulfillment. And one of the most important lessons I learned as a result of that transition and all the other transitions I've stepped through in my life, I learned that the next level requires something of a reinvention. It's more than just a change, it's a transformation. And that's why it requires non-linear growth. Anytime we ask ourselves to make a big leap and then take that step, it becomes a full realization of our full potential in that moment. We become someone a little different from who we were before, and that's where the excitement and exhilaration come from. But it's also challenging. And although I was ultimately successful in my transition, it took a lot of work. There was a lot of resistance there. There were a lot of new things to learn, a lot of new pressures to manage, a lot of new standards to acclimatize to. And I can tell you, I still have strong and deeply uncomfortable memories of at times feeling completely out of my depth, unarmed and exposed. And I remember emerging from some of those pivotal but really difficult, challenging moments in my career. And I was just thinking, you know what? I'm never letting that happen to me again. If there are lessons I can learn, actions I can take, skills I can develop, strategies I can master that would leave me better equipped, not just to survive, but to thrive in those pivotal moments, I'm really going to commit to that. Because I never again want to be in that position, feeling just paralyzed and unable to take advantage of the opportunities in front of me. And that pain point has been a driving force behind my entire career as a coach, and it is one of the key takeaways from today's session, because I don't ever want anyone to feel like they couldn't step into their own pivotal moment and couldn't step up to their next level. Now, back to the story, and in the face of that challenge, I took it upon myself to really tackle this situation alone. I launched myself into a whole host of new learning, lots of running around, scrambling, hustling, just trying to keep pace, trying to keep on top. And initially, I saw some results, but it wasn't long before I was again drowning at this new level. I had an exhausting schedule, I had lots of pressure, much of it self-applied, and a ton of new things to learn. Trying to do it all on my own clearly wasn't going to cut it. I needed to find a different approach. Now, I've always been interested in elite performance and elite performers. And I asked myself, what can I learn from some of the elite performers out there? What can I learn from a Roger Federer, Serena Williams, a Michael Jordan? And I stepped into a powerful visualization technique which created new insight for me. So I just want you now to imagine you're an elite athlete, faced with a pivotal moment in your career and a real opportunity to ascend to the next level. And I want you to be this person right now. Be a Serena, be a Roger, be your favorite sports star. Now, from this space, I'd love you to ask yourself, how would I approach this pivotal moment? What would I do differently? How would I change up my approach? What's going to be the difference that makes the difference? Now, for me, this thought experiment gave me 3 game-changing strategies. And at this point, I invite you just to start a checklist for your shift project and add to it as we step through today's session. So, the first game-changing strategy that I'd love you just to jot down on your checklist was to really shift to a professional mindset. To turn pro, characterized by that insatiable drive full of motivation, ignition, and a real resilience, of the kind where every setback was fuel to bounce back even stronger. The second strategy was to get deliberate in my practice, not just to mindlessly get the reps in, but to be focused, structured, and targeted at what I would need in the toolkit. And the third strategy was to become and remain coachable, not just wanting to learn, but hungry to learn, motivated to develop, and willing to be coached. And that last idea was a unique challenge for me, as someone who loved to do it all himself and who would often resist outside input. But it was also especially important because it led me to a brand new thought, that it would never even occur to a Serena Williams or a Roger Federer or any other of the greats to tackle their pivotal moment without their coach. And that dispelled for me any myth that support and coaching were for people who were struggling or failing or underperforming. And in fact, I learned that it's the other way around. Top performers get coaching, top performers get focused, top performers get strategic, top performers get themselves set up for success. And so I made that same shift to be willing to be coached. And I started working with my first ever coach, who incidentally is still one of my coaches today, 15 plus years later. And with her help, things really took off for me. Put in the work, I took command of my new role, I upped my game, and I really started to perform and then excel. And, this was at a time when I had an exhausting schedule, a lot of pressure, a ton of new things to learn. It, would have been easy for me to say now's not the right time. But I took action regardless. And I'm so glad I did, because it turned my situation from an unsustainable slog into an energizing and deeply rewarding career chapter. And it felt great to be brimming with confidence, have absolute clarity about my goals and overall direction, to get consistent in my rituals and routines, and to feel back in control of my work and my life. But I want to tell you, it wasn't hiring a coach that created that impact. It was my approach. It was how I then applied myself. It was the ways in which I dialed in the structure, strategy, consistency. And the best way I can summarize it is I turned pro and I made it a project. And just that word project, you can hear the complete elevation of this pivotal moment. And this project-based approach became one of my chief strategies for achieving any shift, any quantum leap I would then go on to make throughout my life and career. And today it's the framework I coach my clients on, which is why today's masterclass is called No Dreams, Just Projects. Special undertakings at your pivotal moment designed to create the shift to your next level. Now, think back to the beginning of today's session. We talked about your next level of success, what you're looking to achieve, what you want to accomplish. And now I have a question for you. Is it a dream or is it a project? Is it some vague longing off in some never achieved future? Or is it a special undertaking designed to create the shift in you that makes your goals and ambitions your new reality? Because you have that choice to continue struggling to find the time, energy and consistency, unsure of what to really focus on, being sporadic and reactive without strategy, structure or support. Or you can turn pro, get focused, get strategic, get support, and build your transformation project that will dial in your consistent development, create nonlinear growth, and support you to achieve your next level of success. Okay, so where are we? Your journey of success will be a series of step changes, the catalyst for which is this pivotal moment. We're learning that in the moment, you capitalize on your opportunities by getting focused, getting strategic, getting coaching, and turning pro. And we're learning that in the moment, the choice is yours. And it is a choice because we choose our realities. And more often than not, we choose to keep ourselves stuck. Consciously or otherwise, we limit ourselves. And this is an important realization because when you see that choice is yours, you reclaim ownership and you give yourself back the ability to break through your self-imposed limitations, step into your next level of success and realize your full potential. Now, to reclaim that sense of ownership, there are some mindset shifts we need to make. And those begin by bringing into awareness and eradicating 3 major mistakes that most people make and that play out as interference that keeps us from the performance levels we want to hit, the stellar results we want to achieve, and the positive impact we want to have. And the first mistake is failing to prioritize our success. And although a largely unconscious decision, the primary reason in the moment is I'm just too busy for that right now. And we can all relate. Significant workloads, long hours, back-to-back meetings, incessant email, information overload. And in the moment, the impact doesn't seem such a big deal because it looks like we're saying no to the next task or the next bit of learning and development. But those are the micro ingredients of our success. And over time, the compound effect is huge because our days and our weeks are our careers and lives in miniature. And this is a real challenge because I can't tell you how many people who come to work with me are just too busy to succeed, too busy to focus on the right projects, too busy to say no to lesser goals, too busy to notice best time is being spent on the lowest return activity, too busy to relax into their most inspired and creative self, too busy to create their day, too busy to create their success, just too busy to succeed. Now, the mistake that most people make, which just compounds this issue, is believing that it's a question of time management. But this isn't a time management issue. Prioritizing your success is a question of boldness. And just take a moment to take in that deeper truth, because at those acupuncture points, those moments I choose the urgent task ahead of my success project, I do so out of timidity. I'm afraid to put down my task list or put email to one side. I'm afraid of missing out, falling behind, being caught out. And that lack of boldness casts a vote for everything other than my success. And this distinction between time management and boldness is so important, because as long as you continue to see this as a time management issue, you're going to hunt for time management solutions, and they alone aren't going to work, because it's a question of boldness and a question of choice. Now, some will be saying and thinking right now, yes, that might be the case for some people, even most people, but not for me, Dan. You don't know me and my schedule. Busyness is not a choice for me. But I want to tell you, busyness is a choice. Busyness is always a choice. And more than that, busyness is laziness. Too lazy to create my day. Too lazy to get focused and strategic. And we might even say busyness is fear. It's lying low, playing small. And it's me keeping myself from the things that will move me forward. And so I invite you to make a bold choice and to choose success over being busy. Because with that bold choice, we get clear, focused, and take back command of our destiny. We feel confident in ourselves and committed to our actions, and we achieve a deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment as we make progress on our goals and create lasting transformational change. And all that's rare, because honestly, when was the last time you felt really good about your project? And that's why some of the messages I most love to receive from our members about how good they feel about their own development and growth, feeling inspired and fired up, committed to bigger goals, full of self-confidence, whilst appreciating a new sense of balance. So that's mistake number one, failing to prioritize success. And the mindset shift here is to see this not as a time management issue, but as a question of boldness. And as you think about your next level of success, what are some of the lesser goals that you're currently prioritizing ahead of your success? What would it take to make a radical shift here in priorities and at the acupuncture points? And how would that shift help you achieve your key goals and major projects? And I invite you just to take a moment to consider what's been your key insight so far, and how will you apply this in your own life and work? Mistake number two is all about failing to get strategic about your success. And where our first mindset shift required boldness, this shift requires intentionality. And perhaps you'd like to jot that word down, because the mistake that most people overlook is that an absence of strategy is not neutral, it's detrimental. It actually harms and disrupts goal pursuit and goal achievement, because there's no such thing as no strategy. Having no strategy creates a strategy by default. There is only ever intentional strategy or default strategy. And when we fail to bring intentionality, we create that default strategy not by conscious design or intent, and not something to achieve the outcomes that you're looking for, but it's a strategy there nonetheless, consuming your precious time, energy, and focus, distracting you. The perfect strategy for keeping success out of your life. A strategy that at best is reactive and not based on my long-term objectives. It's sporadic with a peak and trough approach that just lacks the all-important ingredient of consistency. And it's uncoordinated. It lacks cohesion. It doesn't quite fit together, which results in a very disconnected and ineffectual approach that limits learning retention, creates periods of stagnation that then lead to missed opportunities, and it leaves important and significant gaps in the skill set. And so today's wake-up call, what's your current approach costing you? Just take a moment to reflect on this pivotal moment, your next level of success, the shift project that will take you there. And just ask yourself, is my current approach an investment or a cost? Now, why do most other people not get intentional? Why do most others make the mistake of failing to strategize their shift projects and their success? If we scratch beneath the surface, we discover the three real reasons why people really make this mistake. And the first is, we don't want to believe success is a process. We want to believe success is highly complex, that it can't be that easy. We hate reducing success to simple steps, because if we allow ourselves to believe it's a process, we are left with deeply uncomfortable reasons for not yet having achieved success. We want to believe success is complex and overly difficult, to give ourselves ego-friendly reasons for not yet having achieved the success we desire. The second reason we don't strategize success is we don't want to believe how close our success is from where we are right now. Because as we nudge our next level, things get a little uncomfortable. It's like, will I be able to operate at this level? What will people think of me when I step up? What if I can't compete? What if I fail? And so we prefer to define success as a long-term struggle that pushes that success of ours way off into the future, a future we never get to, by the way. But the most important blocker to having a success strategy and our most prevalent self-imposed limitation is our fear of failure. We fear the sense of wasted effort, and absolutely we fear our story about failure, what failure would mean about us and what others would think of us. But I want to let you know there is a way to get strategic, time efficient and results focused at these pivotal moments, in spite of the resistance you might be feeling. Because what I notice is that when we bring these challenges into awareness and take responsibility for them, all that's then missing is just a well-conceived strategy that's built on a simplification of the process for achieving success, supported by effective systems and a steady plan, and a shift beyond our fears and self-imposed limitations. And when we do that, we once again get crystal clear and aligned with our key goals and major projects. We maximize our investment of time, energy, and focus, and we bake in the consistency which accelerates our learning, amplifies our actions, and maximizes our results. And when I talk to my clients and community members, it's wonderful to hear the transformational power of simply getting strategic and intentional. Simply achieving clarity on goals, projects, and where to place the focus. The power of finding new levels of productivity and effectiveness by simply dialing in the consistency and building new habits. And the importance of taking ownership, getting intentional, and following a structured framework. So that was mistake number 2, failing to strategize success. And the shift here, to get intentional, because there's no such thing as no strategy. And as you think about this pivotal moment and your shift project and the next level of success that you're looking to achieve, where until now have you been lacking intentionality? What would 100% intentionality look like inside your project? And in what ways would that contribute to your key goals and major projects? And just take a moment to consider, what's your key insight from this segment? How might you apply that idea in your own life and work to your key goals and your major projects? Okay, let's move on to our third major mistake to avoid, failing to acclimatize to your success. Inherent in every learning journey of transformation is fear, showing up as busyness, procrastination, perfectionism, self-doubt, indecision, inaction, and a host of other self-limiting behaviors. And they're ego-friendly. It's far more acceptable to the human system to self-describe as busy or a procrastinator than it is to say it's fearful. But it's a potentially transformational insight to see the fear beneath those behaviors, because that's the root issue. That's the deeper truth. So that's where the work really is. Now, there are predominantly 4 fears at play in any transformational journey, journeys like your shift project. And fear number 1 is first-timer fear. That's the, I've never done this before. Fear number 2 is the fear of hardship. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be a slog, so we retreat from the effort. Fear number 3, fear of failure, or more accurately for most, a fear of mediocrity. Like, I did all this work and I'm still not that good. And fear number 4, fear of success. Now, it may seem odd to think of fearing the thing that we say we want, but it's not the success that we fear. It's our story about success, and it's what we've made success mean about us. And perhaps you'd like to just take a moment here and consider, what are you making success mean about you? And I invite you to sit with that reflection and notice what comes up, because maybe there's a sense that you would outshine others if you were successful, that by being successful you would make others feel bad, or you're somehow disrespecting your roots. You're maybe worried about being in the spotlight, which could invite attention or criticism or attack. Your next level maybe creates some new problems that you're not willing to take on. Perhaps you'd feel undeserving and you don't want to live with that feeling. Or maybe you're fearing that it'll be taken away. And you might notice there are some prevalent and powerful themes here. Themes like loss and the opinion of others. Now, when we start to shine a light on these internal narratives, suddenly the notion of fearing success doesn't seem so far-fetched. Indeed, I'm sure it's starting to sound and feel pretty familiar. Okay, now, in response to those internal narratives, we unconsciously set for ourselves a level of success with which we're comfortable. Think of it now, isn't it true? There's a certain level of success you're willing to step into, but beyond that, it suddenly all gets a little uncomfortable. Think of it like, a personally imposed ceiling or an internal thermostat. And what happens when we start to nudge those upper limits is we start to self-sabotage. Now, all of these behaviors, they serve only to keep us stuck, to stall our progress, to keep us out of success-generating action. And more often than not, we end up paralyzing ourselves, often indefinitely, because we start trying to apply solutions that just have no chance of moving us forward because they're not addressing the fear that's at play. We convince ourselves this is a time management problem or a timing issue or a question of overcoming our lifelong perfectionist traits, and we refuse to deal with the issue of fear. First timer fear, fear of loss, fear of gain, fear of hardship, fear of making a mistake, fear of missing out, which is exactly why your journey of success needs a rock solid framework that you can rely on, a framework that you can step into that helps you to clarify, align and connect with your vision and goals, and then to anchor you on the path of success and keep bringing you back when you drift, integrate this next level and to acclimatize to it. And it all begins with bringing this insight into awareness and then to sit with that killer question: how successful am I willing to allow myself to be? And perhaps that's the question you'd like to highlight in your notes to return to and to spend some time with, because that will help you to let go of that fear and resistance so that you can ground yourself in a safe space, attentively put in the work, deepen your awareness, develop practical strategies and get into progressive action. Supported, of course, by a process and a framework that offers guidance, structure, support, breaks down the journey into manageable steps, creates a sustainable rhythm to transformation, acknowledges and celebrates progress and achievement, and creates a safe space in which to experiment. So that's mistake number 3 to avoid, failing to acclimatize to your success, where the shifts that we want to make is first of all to recognize any unhelpful associations we're making with the idea of success, to reset our internal upper limits, and to acclimatize to those. And as you think about this pivotal moment and your shift project and the next level of success that you're looking to achieve, what are some of the fearful thoughts that you're maybe associating with success? What limiting behaviors are those fears creating? And think, what's my practice for setting my success limits and acclimatizing to them? Just take a moment here to consider, what's your key insight? What change in your approach does this really inspire in you? What personal commitment are you making to yourself right now? And what's your next action, your very next step? Okay, so there are 3 major blockers to achieving your next level of success: failing to prioritize your success, failing to strategize your success, and failing to acclimatize to your success. Largely self-imposed limitations which we can learn to move beyond. And just take a moment to ask yourself, what's been the key learning so far? What's been your most important piece of new learning in this moment that you might apply to your project? Is it the importance of shifting those internal narratives that have us prioritizing everything and everyone else ahead of our own success? Is it the significant cost of relying on a default strategy that only results in wasted effort, subpar performance, and missed opportunities? And is it how our fear of success leads us to subtle but damaging self-sabotage as we recoil from those self-set internal upper limits? And shifting these mindsets, it really is the crucial first step. But I want to let you know that you won't achieve your next level of success without a strategy in place and a bias for consistent and well-directed action. And that requires a framework. So now let's dive into 4 keystone pillars that you need to have in place to give you the perfect complement of strategy plus action that achieves nonlinear growth in this your pivotal moment. And as we step into the 4 pillars, I invite you just to bring to mind again what you're working towards, what you'd love to achieve, your next level of success. So you can really hear these strategies in the context of making progress on your goals and achieving impactful and lasting change. So the first of our 4 keystones for nonlinear growth is clarity and strategy, because you can't achieve anything without a crystal clear vision of the goal, the motivation behind the goal, and a plan to achieve the goal. So before we invest in the journey, we need to define the destination. And this is crucially important because the brain is a goal achieving machine. It's one of its superpowers, but it needs a hard target The brain cannot get to work on non-specifics like make more money or accelerate career or be more successful. The brain can't do anything with that. So we need to get laser focused. And when we do, it motivates us into right action. It allows us to track and measure progress, and it tells us when we're complete. But the most important reason for setting laser focused goals is that our goals are filters. When we're crystal clear on the goal, we know exactly what to say yes to and what needs a high quality no. And that keeps us on the path to success and prevents us from what I like to call drifting. Because what keeps us from our success just as much as not knowing the path is knowing the path and drifting from it. It is very much my belief that everyone knows their path to success. The problem is people go off the path. They allow themselves to be busy, distracted, rushed, overwhelmed, and they convince themselves there's just too much on to spend time setting and working towards my goals. But here's the thing, you're always working on your goals. Your whole day is architected towards the achievement of goals. Just take a look at your calendar for the last 24 hours. The only question is, whose goals are you working on? Yours or the rest of the world's? So it's crucial that you sharply define your goals and build a robust strategy that near guarantees your goals receive the right level of focus. Because if you don't set your goals, the world will do it for you, guaranteed, and not in a way that will achieve your next level of success. Now, one of the key points of resistance that most people experience when they set big goals and develop ambitious strategies is they fear mediocrity and failure. What if I set this goal and then don't achieve it? What if I work on this goal and I'm still not that good? And this keeps them out of action. But here's the next mindset shift we want to make, because it's not underachievement that we fear. It's our story about underachievement. Stories about what that might deny us, what that might mean about us, what others might think of us. But when we can see this as a self-limiting internal narrative, we can simply let go of our internal saboteur and we place our focus back where it needs to be, on our success. So for your shift project checklist, as you think about your shift project, please make sure that you are first of all creating and clarifying razor sharp goals, that you are executing focus guaranteeing strategies, and that you're releasing those self-limiting internal narratives. And when we do, we settle on our new direction and our powerful next steps. We enjoy a deep sense of energy and vibrancy from that clarity, and we move forward with purpose and a sharp focus because we're able to take advantage of our creative inspiration, free from internal saboteurs and self-limiting behaviors. Okay, the second of your 4 keystones for nonlinear growth is the consistent fundamentals, because fundamentals and first principles are the cornerstone of mastery. And the consistent practice of the fundamentals is the foundation of greatness. Just take a moment to notice any area of life or work in which you'd be described as a master, and there'll be a few. Isn't it true you have a complete command of first principles in that area? And now notice any area of life or work in which you've been truly successful. Isn't it true there was a great consistency there in your practice? So this is why consistent fundamentals need to be a keystone of your framework, to dial in the bedrock foundations on which all else is built. And some of those fundamentals are universal biological fundamentals, ideas like sleep, rest, exercise, diet and nutrition. Some are universal performance fundamentals, such as meditation, reflection time, powerful routines and rituals. And others will be very personal to you, aspects which are non-negotiable for you to achieve peak state performance. And what you'll find when you implement the right mix of consistent fundamentals within a system that integrates with your goals, your projects, your life, is a real injection of energy, momentum, and progress. And here's a powerful secret that I want you to take on board. Your success systems will always outperform your passion and your goals. Because first of all, the level of attention is far more localized. It's here in the present moment. And secondly, the payoff is here and now. It's not off in the future. Now, goals are largely the opposite. It's pain now, payoff later. And without systems and fundamentals in place, you can find yourself stuck in a permanent state of pre-success failure. Which is why in our framework, by contrast, we teach goals which turn into projects, which turn into systems. Now, most people do not do this. Why not? Well, some are unaware of their importance. Because they're the fundamentals, they get overlooked. Others are just too busy, not enough time, not enough priority. But ultimately, people just don't value the fundamentals because they believe the fundamentals are for amateurs, for juniors, for rookies. We get to a level of expertise, proficiency, experience, and think we just don't need to worry about those anymore. And if we do, we must be incompetent and not as good as we thought. And this creates the greatest blocker to our full potential, to neglect the fundamentals, because we think focusing on those fundamentals is an inconsistent contradiction with the level we're now at. But here's the mindset shift. Our mastery comes from those first principles, and it is never wasted effort to continually revisit and reincorporate those first principles. And when we do, 3 great things happen. First of all, we're better able to handle pressure situations because memory, recall, learning by rote, they're just not reliable enough when we're feeling the pressure. We need first principles that we can fall back on. We exponentially accelerate the benefits of our learning because effective learning is all about making connection upon connection in the brain. And we can't do that effectively without a solid foundation to build upon and connect to. And we significantly upgrade our performance levels because your fundamentals put you into your flow state, and they will give you access to the full extent of your resources, and they will guarantee focused attention on your goals and objectives, something that's so easily lost without the fundamentals in place. And some of the key messages I love to receive from our members inside the Academy is how they've established new rhythms and rituals towards their goals, how transformational it's been to commit again to consistency, how to achieve a sustainable focus by holding their boundaries, tapping their creativity and natural confidence, and loving the process that exists behind all success. So for your shift project, I invite you to first of all clarify and commit to your universal fundamentals. When are you operating at your best? What's true in terms of your energy, well-being, self-care? What do you need to have guaranteed and in place? I'd love you to clarify and commit to your personal performance fundamentals. What are the non-negotiables for you to be operating sustainably at your best? What is crucial to your operating success? And finally, I'd love you to develop and embed a consistent practice of these fundamentals. Make these a set of disciplines that are woven into the fabric of your day and into the DNA of your success. Okay, the third of our 4 keystones for nonlinear growth is continuous development. And that is a commitment to your ongoing education and the discipline of its practice out there in the real world. And just take a moment to notice its development, not just learning for the acquisition of knowledge, but learning in action for impact in the world. And notice too that it's continuous development, supporting the brain to make connection upon connection, generating incrementally accumulative compound effects and benefits, and creating learning over time, which we know deepens insight, maximizes retention, and produces lasting change. Now, continuous development is crucial to the success of your project and your next shift. You cannot reach the next level without the requisite mindset, skill set, and tool set. You'll have the goals and the ambition, but you simply won't be equipped to realize them. If you don't acquire the super skills of learning, development, and growth, you won't want to venture into new territory. You'll try to progress on existing, outmoded, and stale skill sets, and you'll be unable to respond to unexpected challenges. And without continuous development woven into your practice, you'll ultimately lose interest, motivation, confidence. If you're not continually developing, motivation wanes. And if you're not continually building competence, confidence wanes. Continuous development, it's you working on your number one asset, which is you. Ensuring that person who sets the goals and executes the strategy has the requisite mindset, skill set, and tool set, and is at the top of their game, razor sharp. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Like Lincoln's axe, your mindset, skill set, and tool set are force multipliers, and they need to be honed. Else, you're a goal-focused lumberjack with a blunt axe. Now, although most people can get on with these ideas, there are 3 key mistakes that most people make when it comes to their continuous development. First of all, they either neglect their development entirely or are simply unintentional about it, which is tantamount to the same thing. The second mistake that people make is they get too broad with their development. They try to learn everything and are happy to learn anything. And the final mistake that most people make is they keep their learning largely academic. There's no relationship made with the real world application and no action off the back of that learning. and so it's quickly forgotten with no tangible progress made. So what we want to ensure for your shift project is it embeds, first of all, a strategic and cohesive approach that promotes consistency. We want a process for prioritizing the high return learning activities, and we want a strong bias for action. And just think of your shift project now. Is there a strategy and consistency to your development? Are you crystal clear on where to focus your learning? And do you have a strong theme of turning learning into action? And if you have that sense like, I just don't have the time to incorporate these elements to your day and your week, please do take heart from our members who so often report to me that the learning journey has been made so super accessible, that the frameworks and models are practical and actionable, and that individuals can achieve their personal transformations at a pace that suits them. Now, the final of our 4 keystones for nonlinear growth is challenge and stretch. And this keystone goes way back to the very beginning of my coaching education, many, many years ago, when I learned the fundamental importance of challenge and stretch to optimizing my clients' performance for a number of key reasons, but chief among them that people and their brains are at their best when they're given just the right balance of challenge and stretch. And this dates back to 1908 and a seminal piece of research from 2 psychologists, Robert Yerkes and John Dodson, who gave us the inverted U of performance, which says that there is an optimal level of stimulation and arousal for the brain to be able to really focus and perform. Too much arousal and the brain is quickly overloaded and we become anxious, stressed and overwhelmed. Too little and the brain is unchallenged, unfocused and easily distracted, and we lose interest and motivation. And so the key insight here for you, your project and your performance, is that it's not about pushing harder, but about finding the performance sweet spot, being in the zone. Now, how do we achieve a flow state? And the first ingredient is a clearly defined goal that really captures the attention. That piece is important. Secondly, there needs to be just the right balance of requisite skill to the demands of the challenge. And finally, flow states require immediate performance feedback supported by positive reinforcement. We need to know what is and isn't working, and we need to feel good about the whole experience. So take a moment to jot down those crucial ingredients, and in your next journaling session, think about how you might weave more flow states into your day. Now, the right levels of challenge and stretch optimize for the brain and give us access to our flow states, but they also help us to move successfully beyond our comfort zone to where the magic happens. And again, we need to strike the right balance. Applying appropriate challenge and stretch inspires new thinking, though, using our knowledge in different ways and stimulating new connections in the brain. And that allows us to step incrementally through our ever-expanding learning zones, which make new levels of competency and performance entirely accessible. Finally, challenge and stretch is a powerful self-signaling strategy. If I can take an action in the direction of my success, that will foster deep confidence because it signals to me my ability to achieve and to be successful, which is why it's so important to have a bias for action and to embed the insight that confidence follows action. Now, the mistake that most people make is they think it's the other way around. They believe action follows confidence, as in, I'll wait until I'm 90% confident and then I'll take my next step. The great secret among the top performers is a bias for action and a framework which provides the forcing function. And as you think about your next level of success, I invite you to optimize your project by, first of all, maximizing your peak performance flow states by balancing challenge and skill. Optimize your project by moving incrementally through learning zones that invite you to think a little differently at each level. And I invite you to start self-signaling your success with a bias for action. And this sense of optimization is absolutely one of my favorite elements inside TSP to receive great feedback on. I love to hear about the progress, achievement, and transformation that our community members create by optimizing for challenge and stretch, maximizing their flow states, stepping through their learning zones, and taking powerful action, all of which compounds for their success. So there are the 4 key pillars to achieving non-linear growth in the pivotal moments. And as you think about your own shift project, what are the elements you now realize need new focus? And where I've seen this framework be most successful for my clients and my community is when they've added 2 game-changing ingredients, and they're themes that you will have spotted throughout today's session. And the first is consistency. Consistency is absolutely key. Look at any area of life and work that's really working for you. Consistency is dialed in. Look at any area that's not working, lack of consistency. And so you might like to reflect, where in your life and where in your work are you most lacking for consistency? How would life and work benefit from getting consistent in those areas? And what would it take to introduce new levels of consistency there? And our second game-changing ingredient is commitment. And what you might notice for high performers and top achievers, commitment is a decision. It's not, I'll try to make this happen. It's like, this is happening and you can count on it. Commitment is a decision. Commitment is certainty. And we all have access to those levels of commitment. It just becomes a question of what we point our commitment at. And so what's your commitment level to making lasting change here? What's your commitment level to this project called My Next Level? Because for those with the commitment to create lasting change, I want you to know that alongside hectic schedules, stressful careers, demanding lives, there is a more effective, strategic and time-efficient way to go non-linear and unlock your next level of success at those pivotal moments of life and career. And this approach is not just theory. It's based on my work with hundreds of clients over thousands of coaching hours and with a massive focus on turning insight into action. Thank you for your time and attention today. I hope you found our online masterclass useful in moving you forward to your next level of success. My name's Dan Beverley. Bye for now.